Welcome back to Final Fantasy V. Last time, we cleared the last hurdle of the interdimensional rift, and unfortunately, Gilgamesh exploded. Wasn't even that useful. Necrophobe wasn't even that hard. Oh, also, I guess we killed Shinryu or something. Anyway, though, all other obstacles are out of the way. It is time for Exdeath. So, yeah, here is the last setup. Man, Krill has not changed since she got mine. Pretty well perfect as I am. Though I do have a ribbon just in case.
Whenever they ask her about switching jobs, she says, hey, I've got mine, you've got yours.
I'm 12. What's a job?
It took you long enough, which is good. I'm glad it took you a while.
He's finally got it in his hands, the power of nothing.
Behold, I have reverted to tree!
I won't enjoy that, Exdeath. I won't enjoy it at all. Don't do that. Alright, well, it wasn't enough to remove, like, half the map as it was. Now we've got to watch even more places be devoured. Oh no. Oh no, Boka's wife. Guess it's a good thing I didn't take Boko back to that cave. Oh, and he got the nerds, too. I like how his head has to re-emerge every time.
I wonder why they did that.
Just can't load up the sprite at the start of the scene. Gotta have it reappear.
Wait, we were already in the void.
Ah, we were in the rift. It's slightly different.
Oh. Sorry, I got my lore mixed up.
Yeah, we were in the spot that was between the void and reality, and now we're just more void. Honestly, it does kind of look pretty cool in here. But there is nothing to do. Nope, gotta move over. There we go. Now we're back in formation. Alright, so as it turns out, being dead doesn't stop the Dawn Warriors. They're off!
Look at the weird glowing effect they had in that scene. I forgot how fucked up the Wolfman sprite looked from the side.
Hey, we're back.
What? Hey, you're not supposed to be back. Go away. Here, bigger void. Fuck.
I'm here too! I'm an honorary Dawn Warrior. If anybody else died in this game, they're also Dawn Warriors. Alright, one last chance to re-equip anything if you need to. Otherwise, time to get his ass. Alright, so here he is, the big fucked up tree that's just stretching all the way from where we just were. Alright, so Exdeath, tree form. He's kind of a jerk. He's just going to attempt to white hole right from the start, which is one of the reasons it's good to have a ribbon on. Because white hole is just instant death and petrify at the same time. It's a very rude move.
It's also a very funny name for a move. It's like, you've heard of the black hole, prepare for the white hole, and everyone goes, "Ah, shit. I hadn't considered that."
Dawn Warriors are just like, God damn it.
Can only hold off the void.
Oh, bye, Lena. So yeah, he does add other spells to the mix. He's just got all the good ones. He's got Holy, he's got Flare, he's got Doom. And also, after a certain HP threshold, he will just use Meteor. He just decides, Meteor time. So... Fun fact about this boss, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I don't think it's too surprising to say that we're going to have more than one form. However, you can actually just kill this guy and just skip the second form with certain abilities. I don't believe the more modern versions keep this, which makes sense, but like, Cannoneer has the Chaos Cannon and Dark Cannon abilities. So basically, if you deplete his HP with that, he just dies. you just kill him and win the game.
Man, it's a fucked up looking sprite, though.
I do just love bizarre body horror tree. Oh, well. By the void!
I thought you loved me, Void! No! Ooh-wah!
Ah, man. There he goes. Down with the sickness. Do we do good? Do we do it? Ah, damn it, it's a new Exdeath. He's also talking very quickly. That's not me skipping anything.
I was about to ask, is that the old Fefner? Holy shit.
So here's Neo Exdeath.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so if you thought the last form was body horror, this one's just an amalgamation of random shit.
Yeah, this is where I have to reveal myself as a fake Final Fantasy fan that's never actually seen the last boss of this game.
Oh wow, damn straight up haven't seen it. Well, I mean...
Look, everybody knows the last boss is the least interesting part of any JRPG.
I mean, it's kind of hard to remember this guy just as a specific object. He's kind of a lot. Alright, so, I'm kind of high-leveled for this, which makes it a little bit less dangerous, but, this is a boss with 4 targets on it. The front Emperor from Final Fantasy II looking guy, kind of the middle beast with ladies parts, the lower Satan? And the left skeleton just chilling out in front of a dragon. So yeah, each and every one of them does something. Obviously, you're going to want to probably focus fire on one of them just to get rid of them faster. But yeah, he's got a bunch of statuses and a bunch of powerful moves. God, I'm glad that can't actually kill me. Thankfully, Fair's has ribbon. Oh, you're shaking now, so... Alright, at this point, I believe... he's got, like, 2 extremely good abilities. Also, that's the best line.
The laws of the universe mean nothing!
Fucking rules. Metal as hell. So yeah, I have a decent amount of speed because I was able to get a few attacks off when he's clearly charging for something.
So at the risk of being interrupted by whatever he's charging up, how does Exdeath rank on how satisfying the additional forms are for Final Fantasy bosses?
I'd say highly. I feel like after an entire game where he's just going, ha, oh, okay, so this is Almagest. That's kind of scary, but again, I feel like I'm a little over-leveled, because that only did, 1,000-something damage. That's basically just holy damage, and also it hits you with sap as well. So, nothing to sneeze at, but I can definitely mitigate that a lot better. But yeah, his other move is Grand Cross, which is one that appears a decent amount in the Final Fantasy series. Though, apparently this is the first game where that appears, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I think with how much Exdeath's been bragging about using the Void, there's something satisfying about seeing him lose control of it. And then you immediately see the kind of thing the Void can do.
Yeah, and like, I'm going to include his like humanoid form wearing armor as his first form rather than the fucked up tree thing we fought. Because like we knew for a long time that he was a tree and he had like various evil things stored within him. So it's interesting that we get to see those various evil things now.
Yeah. He was just a tree stuffed full of evil souls, and this is what the Void does to that sort of thing. Here's just an incomprehensible mess of just whatever these are. Many demons.
In conclusion, fuck Zeromus.
Oh god, yeah, Zeromus is,
That's the worst one. In terms of, like, storyline importance, it's the worst.
Yeah.
Even, like, people want to complain about Nine's final boss fight coming out of nowhere. No, it really doesn't. It makes perfect thematic sense. They talk about... Fuck it, I'll just spoil it, because if you care, you already know, and if you think it's dumb, then you don't care. That was a weird way of explaining, but whatever. Everybody in that game is concerned and scared about death, and they talk about death constantly. And so the final boss is death. Come on. That's almost too basic. If you said it was too basic, you'd have a leg to stand on. When you say it comes out of nowhere, it's like, I don't know what game you were playing, man.
Yeah, you're not even missing subtext, you're just missing text. But yeah, no, Zeromus just looks kind of dumb. He's just a head with a whole lot of hair, and Zemus in general is just... meh, as a villain.
Zemus has zero reason to exist, and Zeromus has less than zero reason to exist.
Yeah, look, thinking back over the other games... 3 has Cloud of Darkness, who's, whatever. It's kind of just like a prototype of this, honestly, just, okay, here's an otherworldly being. But she's less fucked up. 2 has the Emperor, who is great. Love that guy.
The Emperor is one of the best main villains just by virtue of how uncomplicated he is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have all the Final Fantasy villains that are good because they're complicated, and then you have the Emperor who is great because he is simple.
Simple, but effective. And then you have Chaos who, you know, for as basic as the first game's plot is, I still love that that game basically hinges on a really cool plot twist that a DM thought of to end their game with. I still think that's highly effective.
Yeah, I like Garland a lot, actually.
Yep.
For an NES game, that's a great twist.
And you know, I think we all just want to kill Chaos. I think at the end of the day, we can all agree that is a good goal to have. Alright, so that's Neo Exdeath. So like I said, probably a little bit over-leveled for this. Had a lot of good abilities to kind of spread damage out or hit specifically, and Alvagast was not as scary as it could be at a lower level. That can really hit hard with a lesser party. And with that, Neo Exdeath has exploded, leaving only the exposition in the void. You just kind of have a Greek mythology bit here. In the beginning there was chaos, I mean the void. It's different, because it's called the void. Also, this one made crystals, which made the world. Love how enthusiastic they are.
So I understand why so many Final Fantasy games go to, like, second worlds and voids and places like this for their final boss fights. I'm not super familiar with every Final Fantasy. Is there ever one that just ends in, like, some dude's house? Because even in 2, you go to hell to fight the Emperor, right?
Yeah, and then if you're playing the GBA version,
Then you go to heaven. Yeah.
6? Almost. It's still unusual. Yeah, I'm trying to think through. I've thought of everything up to 10, and I don't really remember a lot of games after that. Maybe 13? I forgot where that game ends up.
I think 12 just ends in the Death Star because that game is Star Wars for some reason. I might be misremembering. I played a lot of 12 and never finished it. But I think that ends in the mundane world. But I just want, like a very personal stakes Final Fantasy that ends with, like, the hero showing up at the villain's house and killing him.
It's not quite the villain's house, but basically you just want, the end of Diamond is Unbreakable.
Yeah, kind of. Like, suitably dramatic, it just doesn't have to be on a global scale like this. You've done the global scale stuff, we can do something different, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, at the risk of, straying too far from this game, I do still really love the final battle of Part 4. Just takes place at some person's house on a street. It's so mundane.
It is the most appropriate,
so well.
The most appropriate place for a final battle against a serial killer to be, because what's scary about serial killers? They look like anyone and could be anywhere. Anyways, everyone's being restored now.
Yep, we're good. This is Final Fantasy V, so while there are some consequences, people still died, but, you know, overall, it's a very optimistic game. We just had to kill off the old people, but everybody else can come back. Alright, now we have enough people for a V formation. Kelgar and Jizot, I guess you're here too. We don't really have any, like, personal ties to you. I hope that's... No, it's cool, it's cool.
Yeah, you guys are more Galuf's friends, and, like, we kinda met both of you, but, eh.
You killed me, Bartz!
Alright, we're going this way! Alright, so... interesting thing to know. So... there are actual variations of ending in this game, depending on who got KO'd in the final battle, which is one of the reasons why I brought up being very high-leveled. I was kinda hoping maybe I could get a character knocked out, but no, I never came close. I would have had to try to lose somebody, but if somebody is KO'd in the final battle, they're actually too exhausted to escape the void at this point, so they would have been left behind. I didn't just want to have Bartz explode for no reason. He didn't need to follow in Gilgamesh's shoes. We already had a character pointlessly use self-destruct. I was chumping Neo Exdeath, let's be honest. That being said, though, if you do want to know some of the differences, I couldn't really find any videos on them. There's like one version of the alternate ending. But the Final Fantasy Wiki does actually do a pretty good job of covering all the differences in endings. For example, the person who's actually writing the letter changes depending on who's available. Krill is the default, but if you lose anybody, it's basically, I believe, Bartz takes priority, then Lena, then Ferris, and then Krill again. So either you have everybody and Krill writes the letter, or you lose everybody else and Krill writes the letter. But also, damn, that must be depressing, to have Krill be the only person left after all that.
Yeah, So you said could not escape the void at this point. I thought you meant that, like, oh, they'll escape the void later. Do they just stay fucking dead? Does the final boss fight have permadeath?
It doesn't quite.
Okay. I was baffled. I was like, what the fuck? Why would they do that?
Also, fucked up thing, according to the wiki, apparently the Chancellor does care more about Lena than Ferris, and that if Lena's escapes the void, fine, he's like, good, that's fine. But if it's only Ferris, it's like, darn. I wish it was the princess who didn't sneak out.
He knows Lena. He's been involved in every aspect of Lena's life.
Still kind of fucked up. He's just like, darn. Oh, I only got Ferris back. I'm gonna abolish the monarchy. Apparently the scene doesn't play at all, if Bartz doesn't make it. Which makes sense. Some part of me is cruel and does kind of wish it just kind of cut to the grave. Just empty if you lost Bartz. Anyway. As we all know, Boko has fucked, and now he has kids. Remember that time everybody got their ass kicked real bad? Remember that one time where Bartz Put a fucking wolf man in the hospital for the rest of his life.
Remember when Bart's experienced gay panic?
Yep,
Bart's.
that's Bart's. That's his life story. And now here's all the times Lena's been poisoned.
I'm imagining, like, if they don't make it, this is like the slideshow of their life that plays in the afterlife to determine whether they get into heaven or not.
That's Lena. She's resistant to most poisons now.
Okay, so is this supposed to be like all the sad moments? Because like it was all the times Lena got poisoned, was Bart's accidentally killing Wolfman.
There was Bart's and Galuf kinda accidentally creeping on Ferris. This is fine, this is happy. This is that time Krill just fucking shoulder checked Bart's to the ground.
I forgot Krill was introduced to the story by blowing up a wall.
And just doing an impromptu exorcism. Sid, you weren't even there for most of that. How did you know that? Were you just, like, pondering and then making me think things? How are you doing that, Sid? And of course we have to have one more set of flashbacks. Can't forget old Galuf.
I deadass thought they were going to cut the credits.
I'm not going to cry to the scene for the 4th time this year. You can't make me. Even if you are playing the Final Fantasy theme over this.
Isn't it fucked up that video games can make you cry? I don't know why that just struck me as weird.
Alright, so if you did lose any characters in the final battle, this is where they would reappear. Because again, Final Fantasy V is an optimistic game, so basically at this point, the Dawn Warriors would just bring them back from the void. They're not gonna leave you hanging like that.
Wait. So if you did lose everyone except Krill, you could recreate the finale to a Super Sentai show I'm not going to mention by name, because I don't want to spoil it. Right down to the length of time they were missing.
Also, the neat detail is, like, when characters are taken in, I believe they're actually the ones who, like, grow the flowers around them when they enter, which is neat. But alas, I was just too good to get knocked out.
I feel like this scene might have been written with that kind of ending in mind.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, like, yeah, it kind of makes sense that Krill would feel alone because Bart's is, like, there's no easy way to get a hold of people that travel a lot like him in this setting. Lena's busy running Tycoon. Ferris is supposed to be busy running Tycoon. But I wonder if, like, in their head they thought, like, okay, so only Krill's gonna get out first, right? And then the rest will come, and then maybe they decided against that. There's probably no way of knowing, because people refuse to talk about the creative process for video games, and I hate that.
It doesn't help the fact that nobody knows how video games are made when they're gamers. We need more interviews so gamers are less dumb. Everybody gets thrown off the chocobo. It's not just Bart's problem.
I call dibs on the dragon, losers. You're stuck with the bird horse.
Bart's gets Boko, the other two, I don't know. Are those generic chocobo or those two of Boko's kids?
It's his wife and
Is
his
one of them
eldest
the
son.
wife? Alright, so, that's Final Fantasy V. You want to do final thoughts first?
You go first, because I don't have, like, coherent final thoughts prepared.
Alright, so, extremely good game. I feel like that's just not a hot take whatsoever. I don't think that's news to anybody. This game gets run by a lot of people every year. Mentioned the 4-job fiesta before. Like, people love playing Final Fantasy V. I will also say, excellent hack. I'm so glad I used this. Just expanding the number of slots you get is really fun. Final Fantasy V is good already, but man, being able to actively utilize more things at a time is just really good. And I do like most of the tweaks they did to some of the abilities, to try to remove some of the more redundant ones and give classes a few fun new tools that might cross over with other classes.
And I love when Squaresoft JRPGs from this era would make all these new sprites just for a credit sequence.
Yeah, these look wonderful. That's a good-looking dragon there. And I love Diagonal Chocobo. But yeah, in terms of GBA port stuff, I think everybody got through just fine. Music, I think, took a bit of a hit. Again, I mentioned before I prefer the instrumentation of the SNES songs, but nothing is so bad that I would call it unlistenable, so, you know, excellent port, and probably how most people played Final Fantasy V the first time. Because, you know, the PS1 version existed, but
Yeah, don't
maybe
play
not
that.
the best.
The PlayStation... Okay, if the Final Fantasy game was not originally released for the PlayStation, don't play the PlayStation version, it wasn't translated well.
Mm-hmm.
Even 4 isn't translated well, because they... Okay, I have no problem with punching up a script, but they punch up the script in all the wrong ways. Like, Cecil and Kane have a conversation really early on, and they talk like fucking frat bros. For no reason. And, like, that's just one thing, but it's just a very good example of a problem that runs throughout the translation. It was punched up in ways that run counter to how the game is presented. The DS script is the best script for my money, even though it can be a little flowery at times. Anyways, about this game. So I love the gameplay of this game a lot. Whenever I think of, like, a good job system, Final Fantasy V is always the one I think of. In fact, it was too good, that's why I never finished it. I wanted to get, like, fully max out every job, and I got bored before I did that. I also like the character. I don't think that's controversial. I feel like the story is kind of slept on
Yeah.
Because it's not particularly complex, but like the themes of a new generation taking over and like what is the role of the previous generation, I feel like were explored pretty well in this game.
Yeah, like, a lot of this game is about just sweeping things under the rug. The first act is just, oh shit, it turns out, relying on these crystals like this was a bad idea. Oh wait, actually, it's not entirely that fault. It's also because there was an evil warlock in them, that we kind of couldn't deal with completely. Whoops, sorry. Also, the warlock exists because people kept putting prisoner souls into a tree, and that broke bad. Oh no.
Yeah, there's a whole running theme of... I'm sorry, the sprites do not look good at this resolution. What is this? Okay, sure. This completely threw me off. What was I saying? Oh yeah, a running theme of like... I feel like in the history of this world, the phrase "as good as forever" must come up a lot. I think maybe... Oh god, there are plenty of examples of this in real life, but the two that I can think of are like the contracts for who owned Hong Kong or the Panama Canal. Where it was very much just the politicians in charge of like, just set it for 100 years, who'll care in 100 years, and 100 years passes, and it turns out the people alive in 100 years care very much.
Mm-hmm.
You see, yeah, Exdeath is exactly like Hong Kong, I think is what I was trying to say.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I probably couldn't find this article, and I don't know if I'd want to, considering the language in it. I remember I found like a series of articles on a website when I was a kid that, you know, mostly neutrally reviewed the Final Fantasies. You know, didn't want to go in with a bias of like, here's my favorite and the rest suck. But did describe the story for Final Fantasy V as underpants on head Arsler. Even setting aside the Arsler thing, because this was like 2011, more people were talking like that back then. This before my personal cutoff date. What are you talking about? The story is very well constructed, and it's not like it's talking down to you. It's not like it's presented for 5-year-olds.
Yeah, and, you know, it's been a while since I've played a sprite-based Final Fantasy, because I played the DS versions for 3 and 4. But... even the animations in this game are well done. Like, I feel like I sometimes underestimate sprite games even though I don't mean to. Like, I respect the medium, but, you know, I still kind of let myself get blown away by a lot of what this game did, but like, it's just extremely confident choreography and animation.
Man, the video is doing you dirty by placing this sprite at way too high a resolution while you're talking about how good the sprites are in this game.
I mean, the sprites are good, but also, it's mostly just, yeah, about just the way scenes work extremely well. They have good techniques. And now he's in space! But yeah, no, like, this... I don't really have the best point of comparison because it has been so long since I've done the sprite-based Final Fantasies, but... You know, going from 2 to this game, I guess, is quite the leap.
All throughout this LP,
oh, whoa.
I kept comparing it to the Live Alive sprites, and yeah, you can tell this was the big budget game from that studio. Like, Live Alive is fantastic, but its animations are nowhere near as complex or varied as the stuff in Final Fantasy V.
Alright, well, the end had to let Uematsu play out that song completely, but we have reached the end of Final Fantasy V. Or at least that's what I would say, because while we've seen the ending, this is a Game Boy Advance Square Enix game. Which means... we've got a bonus dungeon. Oh no.
Post-game. Post-game.
We'll see that next time.